Hello Taurus, and welcome to your September 2025 tarot card reading. Thank you all so much for being here. If you are new, my name is Jane. I'm so happy to have you on the channel. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with the first 5 of 10 cards. So Taurus, what is it that you need to know for September 2025? Okay. This energy to me seems very patient. Maybe even annoyingly so, where perhaps there are things you're waiting for, people you're waiting on, opportunities you're waiting to show up. I know you're still just living your life. You know, it's not like you're sitting there doing nothing as you're waiting. But it really feels like with these first 4 cards especially, that there's some kind of a slowdown that's happening. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world though, all right? It just may not be operating at the pace that you would like, but it is still a divine pacing. This is a card that suggests that wealth and prosperity is on its way, that it's coming, and opportunities are also coming. I love this card because of that meaning, but I don't like that card because, again, it's that suggestion of like, well, it's on its way, it's coming, and sometimes it feels like a dangling carrot, and you're sort of chasing something that continually sort of slips out of your fingers. So you might be feeling a little bit of both, right? Optimistic that yes, it's coming, and in fact, actually, maybe it's not even optimism so much as it is just a knowing. You know that it's coming, you know it's on its way. But also at the same time, the caveat is, oh yeah, but it's just not here yet. And that's something you'll have to contend with. Now, again, I don't see you being upset about it. I don't see you, I don't see any desperation in these cards, so it's fine, but it's also slow. Now, I will tell you one thing. This first week of September is actually very eventful, right? Back on the 1st, we had Saturn moving into Pisces, retrograding back into Pisces. We have Uranus stationing retrograde on the 6th. And then on the 7th, we have a big full moon total lunar eclipse in Pisces. So there's plus actually August 31st, we also had Pluto move out of bounds, which is a pretty significant event as it hasn't happened since 1938. And it will kind of be going in and out of bounds for the next 10 years, and then it won't happen again for 3,000 years. So it's a kind of an important decade ahead of us because of that. So what an out of bounds planet is it's a very pure expression of that planet, completely unhindered in any capacity. So we have plutonic energy, obsessive, eliminative, transformative, destructive, in a sign like Aquarius, which is revolutionary and, kind of breaking down systems and things like that. So there's a lot of this energy going on. And Taurus, I see that right now you are, it almost kind of feels like you're sort of sitting this one out. All this whole week, probably this whole first part of September, you're just going to sit it out and just kind of keep your head down and just keep working because you have manifestations at play. That's the thing with the Empress. This is also a very Taurian energy. You actually have 2 cards, right? The Venus energy of the Empress here, and the Taurus represented by the King of Coins. So you are very strong in this reading already. And you're doing what a Taurus does best, which is wait until the right moment presents itself. Right? I just don't see you pushing all that hard. There will come a moment for that in September. But in the beginning, I just see you letting things play out. I don't see anxiousness. I don't see stress. I don't see a lot of projection. Like it's one of those things like, why worry about tomorrow when tomorrow isn't here yet? Let's just worry about what's in front of us today. We'll take care of it what takes today. It kind of reminds me of when you're traveling and you're on a flight and you have a layover somewhere. Let's say you have like a 3-hour layover, right? So it's not enough time to leave the airport and go do anything. It's just like you got to kind of just sit there and just, maybe have a meal or do some work or catch up with friends on the phone or, something like that. But you're forced to just sort of sit there. And that's kind of what I'm feeling. It's a little bit of a layover energy. But that flight is coming, right? The manifestation, it's coming, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And I think you know that. Now, King of Coins, again, has this very affluent energy, as does the Empress. But the affluence is more about the channel coming inward, right? The energy coming in toward you and the attraction that you hold. And this sort of layover energy is very attractive. And it also kind of keeps you a bit inaccessible, right? This is not a time where I think Taurus is promising themselves to a bunch of obligations. You're not spreading yourself too thin. You're not going in too many different directions. It feels very contained and controlled and intentional, which is ideal because that usually means that when whatever it is you're manifesting comes to fruition, you will be fully ready to embrace that. So I like what's happening here. I don't see distress. I'm not saying your life is perfect. Okay, I'm not saying there are not obstacles that you're facing, but I'm also not seeing you rushing to find solutions and rushing to try to fix it and, trying to put all this effort into it. It's almost as though there's a lot of faith and trust that it will resolve. And whatever your part is, sure, you'll do your part. It's not like you're avoiding your part, right? You're doing your part and it will resolve. In the meantime, though, you're not going to try to circumvent this process. Four of Cups, again, it feels very inaccessible. Like it's almost as though, yes, there are options in front of you, but you're going to take your time and really think things through. You're not just going to rush and grab one of these cups simply because you are feeling desperate or you're feeling a longing for something. That's one thing I like about Taurus is that you can have this wanting energy. You can have the longing and yearning, but it's not going to like entice you or persuade you to make stupid decisions. Taurus typically stays smart regardless of what they're feeling. And I think that this is the case right now, is that there's stuff you're clearly wanting to bring in, but because of that, because you have a standard and an idea and a vision, anything that's subpar is not really an option. It can try to come in, but it's not an option for you. You're closed for business here. Completely closed off, just not interested. I don't even really think you're examining these. I don't even think that you are considering them, because why would you? Because there's immediately, right off the bat, at least one aspect of these that doesn't fit. Therefore, it's a no. It's a hard and fast no. I don't see any compromise here with Taurus. None whatsoever. Then the story changes. Here with the Five of Wands, the story changes and it gets a little bit more complex. Now, this could involve other people because they may not really like your approach here. This could involve you suddenly, because it does feel like it turns on a dime, suddenly saying, okay, I know what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to take any of these options, but I know what I need to do. And then you jump into the fire. And I don't think you mind this as long as it's aligned with the manifestation, as long as it's aligned with what you want. If this is other people being frustrated that you're not choosing or picking a path, again, I see you not really caring. I see you being really untouchable with this Empress King of Coins energy. It's like there can be total chaos going on around you. Taurus is not going to be affected. Taurus is not going to fall for it. It is not going to be emotionally manipulated by it. You're going to stay strong and steady throughout the whole thing. But I do see that some type of trigger gets pulled here around this time, probably middle September. You finally say, okay, let's do this. Let's make this happen. Whatever you got to do. But there is some type of fire that you have to to walk through. Two more cards. What else for Taurus? I mean, really, the whole of September, with the exception of the Five of Wands, feels incredibly peaceful. Keeping in mind that does not mean everything is going perfectly. Just because you have an obstacle doesn't mean it has to dethrone you. And that's the thing, is I just don't think Taurus is being dethroned no matter what is going on. There's just so much grace and composure and diplomacy here. So yes, the Five of Wands is kind of that initial like moment of compression where either you decide to act on something and you decide to move forward in some regard. Not with the cups. I don't like these cups at all. Probably something else. Or other people are getting frustrated that you're not deciding or you're not pushing for. I don't know what this is for you individually. I just know that it's kind of a moment of chaos or argument or competition or feistiness, okay? And it's a little bit of a fight. But once that's over, this is very fast. Like, I suspect this is probably like a conversation or one action, one decision that you decide to take. And it immediately leads you into this very peaceful moving on. Very peacefully, quietly, moving away from choppy waters and moving toward a peaceful horizon. But the thing with the Six of Swords is that there's a lot of successes and failures. I often feel that these swords are our lessons, a lot of the things that we have learned along the way, and you are beautifully taking those things with you. To me, this speaks to a transition where you're never going to make the same mistakes again. And I think you are resolved to do that. You've committed to yourself, I'm not going to make the same mistakes again. And maybe that's why you're not jumping at these cups, because you're like, there's one aspect at least of each of these cups that I don't like. Therefore, it's a no. Regardless of what other people think or feel, it doesn't matter. It's not right for me. And right now, Taurus, I do think you do need to keep yourself cared for, because especially if you have families, if you have spouses, if you have businesses and employees and clients and people who really look to you, which we all have some form of that in our lives, they're going to need that best version of you. They don't need a spread thin version of you. They don't need a version that's stressed and anxious and giving, a fraction of the percentage that they could in terms of their energy to their tasks and their projects and their goals. So you're not repeating anything. And I feel like this moment is kind of like, I don't want to say it's like an aha moment, but it feels very conquering. Like you have conquered some type of a pattern. You've conquered something simply because you decided to act and behave in a different kind of way, meaning you're never going to have to repeat again. And because you are so locked into this manifestation and you are in such a strong state of knowing that this is going to work out, things just become all that much more inevitable. It becomes that much more inevitable that this manifestation comes to fruition. It becomes all that much more inevitable that the things that don't work get out of the way. It becomes all that much more inevitable that things balance out and that there is going to be an inflow. And I mentioned the inflow with the King of Coins. There's also going to be an outflow, because clearly there are going to be things that don't fit. And what I love so much about this whole thing, and I mentioned this before, is just simply how unemotional you are. Now, emotion can be wonderful, it can be great, it can be powerful and magical, but sometimes emotion can clutter and it can convolute things. So when we're not feeling all these feelings, and of course this is Virgo energy, right? It's more analytical, more logical, more like let's think this through, more process oriented. So that's a good thing, I would say, for right now. We're not in this watery, wandering kind of place. It's like, no, practically speaking, this decision is better than that one. And that's it. It's very black and white. I do like this for the balance. Now, there are going to be times when you're more in this receiving energy. There are going to be times when you're more in the giving energy. I think you find a balance between both. We have a feminine and a masculine here. So again, I'm not saying you're not doing anything, but I also know you're not pushing. You're not pushing the universe into creation. You're not forcing it. You're not trying to bend it. You're trying to let it take form itself on its own, natural, organic, because that's the safest route, right? That's the route that suggests that you're not going to bear negative consequences for trying to force reality, okay? Because sometimes they always say, right, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. This is not one of those, that's not how this is going to work. It's not be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. It's be so excited for what you ask for because you are going to get it. Okay? With the world, again, I do think that this is an ending message, a message of an ending, something that is a long time coming. I don't know that it feels necessarily like freedom, because I almost kind of feel like this world is almost imperceivable to you. I don't know that you're sitting here being like, yep, this major chapter of my life is done. I mean, maybe you are with Pluto out of bounds. That's possible. But I think for most of you, your life is just continuing on. It may just feel a little bit different, but that's probably because you are behaving different, you're acting different, and that's it. And it just means that, yep, that cycle that you were in is closed. That loop that you found yourself in is closed. That's why I love this peaceful, relaxed energy at the beginning of this reading, because that is usually what pushes us through a threshold. When there's no resistance whatsoever, there is no fight, there is no attachment, there is no desire to keep anything intact, and yet still maintaining that sense of self-worth and composure and grace. It's just a beautiful transition. And as we make our way into Libra season, Sun comes into Libra, Mars moves into Scorpio, opposite of you, I think you start building. And I think this building energy is, again, a product of brainstorming and ideas and things that you've had in lockdown for a long time. This feels like an actual manifestation of quite a bit. Feels like the people are going to show up. Feels like the resources are going to show up. And there's clearly a more social element with Libran energy here with the Three of Cups as well. It seems like right now, Taurus, you're starting to understand that certain people make your life better, certain people build you up, certain people enable you in positive ways, certain people support, and other people don't. And it's so clear, because sometimes we do convolute that, right? Sometimes we say, oh, well, this person might have said that, but it was with the best intentions, and we try to make excuses for people. And maybe that's a little bit of what's going on here with that Five of Wands, is that people are trying to tell you something. Now, I'm not saying you're not able to take feedback from people. It's just that sometimes this isn't the most helpful. It's not supportive. It's not constructive in any way. It's just projection. And I just don't see you being subjected. Well, personally, you're not accepting anyone's projections. You just see it as a projection, and that's it. And it clearly has nothing to do with you. So why are you going to worry about it? I just don't see you worrying about this Five of Wands at all. But by the end of the month, it's like, I want to align with people who make my life better, people who know what I need to do, people who can advise me. And one of the things with Taurus being the sign of self-reliance, you know, it's not always easy to open yourself up to advice like this and to counsel and to collaborations and working with people like this. But I think that for right now, right, I kind of am sensing especially with that North Node in the 11th house, and the eclipse in the 11th house in Pisces, this networking energy, which may or may not be a common theme in your life. Like you just may not have that all that much, or maybe you do, but wherever you are on that spectrum, your self-reliance is usually pretty strong as a Taurus. And so while you may have connections, you may not always rely on them. But I think right now you're learning lessons about not doing things alone, and how much better things can be done when you don't do it alone, and how much faster and how much higher quality they can be when you don't do things alone, and when you are partnered and associated with those high quality people. Obviously you have to choose the right people, but it's a totally different ball game, and people who have these networks accelerate their growth in so many capacities. They accelerate their businesses, they accelerate their family growth, their relationship growth, their personal development, their manifestations, all of it, it all accelerates. And I just think right now you're here waiting, but these connections are the stepping stones to get you to exactly what you've been waiting for. Okay, so don't sleep on the social activity and the working energy, working with other people energy near the end of the month there, come Libra season. Alrighty, Taurus, let's see what comes through with the Animal Spirit Oracle. Last couple cards, what do you need to know here? We have sweet results await with the Bee Spirit, and I love that, and I think the first 3 cards say that exactly. You are going to get what you're asking for. It is going to work out. It is going to be a good thing. It is going to put you in a better position. There is a land of milk and honey on the other side. You just got to kind of roll with your natural instincts right now. Okay? Any resistance, any fighting, any hesitancy, I just don't think that is hesitation, rather, sorry. I could talk. I just don't think that is going to be the proper approach. We also have this card that says a time to give rather than take. This is the difference between the feminine and the masculine. There is strong receptive energy, but there is still masculine here as well. And I said there's times when you need to give. And I think right now giving and providing and using your skills and talents is an important part of this equation as well. And that these relationships are not just for your benefit. These relationships are for the benefit of everyone involved, meaning you are going to show up for others in the same way you expect them to show up for them. There's transactional energy through here. Okay, so keep that in mind. But giving is going to be an important part of this. All right, Taurus, we're going to pull out the clarifier. So for those of you who are new, I'm going to pull out 30 new cards, and we're going to go pretty detailed into this to extract any additional information that you are meant to receive. So if you want to join me for the comprehensive reading, the link will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. All right, Taurus, let's see what comes through here with the 3 of Cups. I'm sorry, 3 of Wands, if I could say it properly. 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands. We have the Hierophant, also a Taurus card. So we have 3 Taurian representatives here. I love that. And 10 of Coins. Your wealth and prosperity awaits. There's no doubt about that. 8 of Swords. Another 3 of Cups. And the Moon. So I like the Moon with the feminine Empress because I think she wanders in that darkness quite comfortably. We have the Ace of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Page of Wands. Queen of Coins, Chariot, 3 of Wands again, King of Cups, another 6 of Coins, 7 of Swords. I do think there's someone else. Someone else seems to be expecting something from you, and I don't like it. King of Swords, another Four of Cups, a lot of repeated cards here. We have the Page of Coins, Magician, Four of Wands, Five of Swords, another Five of Wands, Four of Coins. Okay, and for the Three of Coins, we have Two of Coins, Page of Swords, and the Hermit, Seven of Wands, Ten of Cups, and Ten of Swords. All right, Taurus, this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join me, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much. Hope you have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon.